The hell are you supposed to be? I'm vengeance.
All right. I'll show my face in a bit. Don't worry, guys. AW Air Warrior. No, it's not a Let's Talk Pop episode. So, yeah, this is just a stream I thought about, Actually, I just thought about doing the stream today. But, yes, is it... the description of YouTube explains it all. I've been hearing a lot of, I've been on Twitter. I should get off of it. But and everybody's talking about the box office of all these movies. Okay? Hey, Arkham. Hey, Blinded. I may let you guys in. And why these movies... And you obviously got the certain people going in obviously the anti-woke side. Those people. I'm not going to indulge in that bullshit narrative there. In my opinion, it's not the reason why. Is that the reason why these movies are not doing well at the box office? It's okay. I'm not doing that shit. That's whatever. I'm not going there. And this is gonna be a short stream. Okay. So like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. The typical promoting stuff. Okay. This month has been bad for movies in terms of box office. All the big movies. June released, like Indiana Jones is obviously a flop in terms of money at the box office. Same with the Flash, right? Now we got Elemental's not doing well, and Spider-Verse did okay, but it didn't make. Let's be honest, it didn't make great numbers. It passed the first movie, but it didn't make extreme numbers. Okay, Transformers didn't do that well. All right. Like, obviously, and the tracking for the next Mission Impossible movie, Part 1, Dead Reckoning, the numbers, the tracking numbers don't look so good either. And you could say it's a promoting and all that stuff, storytelling, all that stuff, and whether it's word of mouth. And there's been some good movies this year. Obviously, some movies that made money this year. Avatar made over $2 billion. Mario cost $1 billion. Guardians made $800 million. Just close by, right? Just under $1 billion. $800 million is solid. Obviously, Ant-Man did not do that. I'll say this: 2022 so far, 2022 had a better box office success than 2023 so far. I know we're only halfway in, but let's be honest. We did not get any. I don't think we got $2 billion movies. I'm pretty sure last year. Jurassic Park. I don't know how Jurassic Park made $2 billion. It's not $1 billion. It's not a good movie, but I don't know how. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. See, this is not a good sign. And Top Gun. But you got the Marvel movies just were successful last year. Let's be honest. You may not like Thor: Love and Thunder. And you have any thoughts on Doctor Strange or Black Panther? Let's be honest. They made some money. Let's be honest. They made some money. Okay, the Batman made some money. Now Black Adam floundered, obviously. But I'm going to talk about there's other movies. Top Gun, massive, right? And there's also a lot of flops last year. Yeah, this movie sucked. And you have to understand, guys. The budgeting for these movies, why the cost is so higher than the 200 million, 150, 100 to 200 million, it's because, I don't know why, it's because for 2020 and 2021, when they're filming stuff, they had to spend money on a bunch of COVID tests, right? They had basically COVID precautions, stuff like that. Okay, there's a lot of, especially those years, 2020, 2021. There was a lot of COVID stuff they had to spend money on. Tests. They had to test the actors and crew every single day. When 2020, when they shut down Hollywood for since March of 2020 to September, September. Let's remember, we had no vaccine. COVID was just like really, really starting to, this before the new variants came in, right? But they went back to filming in September, and it's amazing how WandaVision was able to pull it off in 3 or 4 months. Because when they went back to filming, that show came out in January, and The Mandalorian came out before WandaVision. No, it did not. Season 2 of Mandalorian came out the year after, but season 2 was already done filming, I believe, before the pandemic started. I think they were, or not. I don't remember. Yes, especially these movies. Yes. And remember, they had to halt the Batman a few times. They had the Marvel movies. Now, there was, I don't know if you know, it's an Ant-Man. There was an outbreak. On Ant-Man, there was an outbreak, but it wasn't COVID outbreak. It was the stomach virus, another virus that makes you go to the bathroom. There was an outbreak in Ant-Man. Filming that. Okay? And they had to spend a lot of money on COVID precautions, and definitely a lot of money on green screen, especially Marvel, because they couldn't be outside all that much because of COVID and stuff. So they had to make it a secure place where they could be try to contain the virus, right? Basically like a bubble, and they had to use all the CGI, VFX, basically all the Marvel movies. I mean, we always say this. Yes, but they went up. Drastically since COVID came in. And the Marvel movies, basically every movie since Phase 4 and every show Phase 4 is basically green screen, VFX, CGI, green screen, all that, because they had to keep COVID out. And that obviously costs more money, right? So studios had to spend, and obviously studios spend more money on productions then because they were also losing money. They were spending more money, but they were also losing a lot of money. You were losing a lot of money because there was no filming, and there was nothing they could do. And obviously with Disney, they got other stuff that draws the revenue, like the theme parks, right? And 2022 was kind of a bounce back year for movie theaters. I would say, yes, I know 2021, people started to go see movies again, right? Late, they say middle 2021 when Fast 9 came out. Fast 9 came out, and then you got Black Widow, even though I couldn't see Black Widow when it came out, but Black Widow came out. Shang-Chi, the second half of 2021 movies where people went to see movies again. Not everybody went back, but they weren't making as much money, right? They're still, even when they're theaters, they weren't making as much because not everybody felt safe going to the theaters. That's until No Way Home broke that. Once No Way Home came out, people didn't care. They had to see that movie. In 2020, fans were picking the movie they wanted to see, and not risking going to a movie, that they had no interest in, or at least a little interest in. And No Way Home was that movie, and No Way Home did great at the box office. And in 2022, yes, we had an Omicron variant, right? We swept through, especially the first few months of the world. But we still actually, we're blind to contest this. We did shut down theaters in early 2022 to March. And I also think there's other things too. But right? So 2022 was kind of a honeymoon phase for people to go back to theaters where they felt more people felt safe going to theaters. Yes, there were some financial flops in 2020. Let's not be dishonest about it. There's financial flops in 2022, but there was a lot of success in 2022. It was a honeymoon kind of thing where people felt, oh yeah, I feel safe going to the theaters again. So yeah, 2023 on the other hand does not feel the same. Yes, it did. 2023, on the other hand, and I can tell you, Michael Fantagrassi, don't, it's like promoting, not promoting, yeah, maybe pay the actors too much, directors are too much, maybe too much control, whatever. A lot of rewrites, disinterest. I also think crowded months. I know my friend Degrassi says like you back in the day, used 25 to 30 movies, but back in the day, they did not have like a major blockbusters all the time in period of 1 month. And like we got a couple months this year, we had major movies coming out, right? At the same month. Also, what I think of it, right? In March especially, March, I think Shazam, John Wick, Dungeons and Dragons. You know what you can say with these. I think they're all solid movies, right? But none of them. I don't think any of them cracked 500 at the box office because of the crowded months. That is April, on the other, Mario blew it away, and there's a reason why I think Mario blew that everything away is because there wasn't a major movie month, but Mario obviously had it was a very high popular fan base among the whole world, among fans from 40 years ago when it came out in the 80s. Kids to these days, Mario is like one of the biggest exceptions. Okay, out there. Avatar was a big exception out there too. Okay, was a big exception. And then we got maybe got Guardians, and Guardians is good. It made money, 800 million. And word of mouth definitely helped that movie. Word of mouth helped that movie. Now I know I'm gonna bring that up to Grassy. I'm gonna bring up your point. Okay, what we talked about today and yesterday. Yeah. So, and then the Fast 10 obviously didn't do good. I think people are getting tired of Fast Furious chick. I think they're finding right. Now, Little Mermaid did not do as well as the other live action fairy tale movies, but it was successful. I guess I don't know how much, 500, 600 million, somewhere around there. It did not obviously. There was other live action fairy tale Disney movies that made a lot more than Little Mermaid, but I guess in a way it kind of flopped compared to the other ones. But I think it made like 500, 600 million. And I think it's still in theaters too. Little Mermaid is still in theaters. Okay. And then we got to June. Well, actually, end of May, we got the Spider-Verse movie, which was really, word of mouth, really loved that movie. Really loved that movie. And did make more money than the first one. It's true. But it did not cost 500 million. It's still in theaters, but it did not cost 500 million. And then we got Transformers, which in my opinion, was better than the last four. Second best Transformers since the first Transformers movie. My opinion. Okay? Flop. Flash. Flop. Yeah, the Flash flop in terms of box office. I didn't think it was a bad movie, but a flop. And that's a DC. DC's been going down that train, obviously, since Black Adam, right? Flopping film out Black Adam, Shazam, and the Flash. And there's no, and I'm telling you, Blue Beetle's not going to do well. I'm telling you, Blue Beetle's not going to do well. Oh yeah, that's true. That's a good month. You're right. I forgot Ghostbusters in that month. And then there's Elemental not doing well, obviously. And then you got Indiana Jones at the end of July, at the end of June. I know it's the end of June. It's only 2 days before July, but it's still considered a June movie, right? But obviously it goes into July. Not doing well. And Blind made a great point that all these movies are too close together. And, right? I think that's a great point. Instead of spreading them apart, right? And we got the 3 movies coming up in this month, the big movies, Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible's not tracking well. Barbie and Oppenheimer are not tracking well. I know Oppenheimer is a 3-hour movie, so there's going to be less theaters to show it, obviously. But they're still not tracking well. I know it's right. And like Barbie is a wild card because Barbie is because like, what kind of audience is Barbie for? It's not mine kind of movie. Obviously, I'm not going to go see Barbie, right? If I had a girlfriend or a wife or something like that, it's just a Barbie. Yeah, okay. And I'm sorry, I don't care if it stars Margot Robbie. I said so many times on streams, and Blinded, you bring up my point too. And I said so many times on streams, there's no box office movie star that draws people in anymore. Okay? Okay? It's not okay. Not anymore. Not anymore. And Blind makes a great point. This. I think this is the biggest point. Blinded, biggest point. Actually, this is what Degrassi and I talked about. You go in a movie. You go see a movie. Whether you're paying $15 to $20 for a ticket, right? One person, that's a lot, right? One person, a lot. You're going two people. That's $30 to $40 with two people, right? And if you're going with three or four people, you're paying close to $60 to $70, right? Or 80 if it's 20 if you do, right? If you're a family, obviously kids, probably kids under a certain age, the tickets are a little cheaper, but it still adds up, right? If you're going, say you're going a family, thank you. George just bring up my point. If you go to a family, say your father and a mother, right? And you have one kid, you probably could spend 15 to probably like 30 to 60 bucks on tickets alone, plus concessions will probably cost you what? Another 30 to 40 bucks. It might cost you 100 bucks in total to see a movie. Yeah, 150. And you might do it. You know what? Families might do it for a family-oriented movie, like, right? But they're not gonna do it for every movie. You're not gonna do it for every movie. Yeah, you're not gonna do it for every movie, and you can't do it for crowded months. Even when there's big blockbusters, it doesn't work that way. Inflation's up, especially in my country. Inflation's up. Money is up. Stuff is more expensive. And Blind could agree with this. Stuff is more expensive. Families are not going to spend. People are not going to spend so much money to see 4 or 5 movies. If it's one person like me, if I go alone or two people, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, I could. But if you're going with the group, which is family or a group of friends, whatever, it's going to cost a lot of money. And you're not gonna. You might choose. And you're gonna pick and choose what movie you're gonna do that for, right? Right? You might pick wrong, or you might pick not wrong, right? It's all about that. I'm gonna tell you one thing. This is not a movie thing, but this is an sporting event thing, and it kind of does apply to this too. You're not gonna go to every sports game, but you're gonna save up money for a specific sporting event, right? For example, a wrestling pay-per-view, a UFC pay-per-view, a World Series game, or maybe a Super Bowl, whatever, right? Yeah. So when I went to AEW's Forbidden Door Sunday, Air Canada Center, Scotiabank Arena, guess how much I spent on 2 hot dogs and a bottle of pop? Guess. Just guess. I'll even, if you round it up, I'll give you that too. Degrassi actually knows, but just guess. Just guess. I'll let you on, Blinded. I'll let you on because I'm just guess, guys. Just guess. 2 hot dogs and a pop. Just guess. Just guess. Okay. I'll let you all know. $29. $29, 2 hot dogs and a pop. You could go to it was a bottle of pop. Obviously, bottle of pop costs more than a can. But you go to a hot dog concession stand, you could get a hot dog for like $2 or $3 outside. Okay. And Anthony, they're trying to market the hell out of this movie, Barbie, and Universal's trying to market the hell of Oppenheimer too, man. They've been marketing this. They've been marketing this movie for like since May, man. Barbie, they're marketing the hell. Yes, Canadian, Blind, Canadian. You could go out. I could go to the hot dog stand outside right now and get for more. I could get 2 hot dogs and a can of Coke for not even half of that. It's Oppenheimer's damn way more than 100 million. Oh my god. And oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't remember. And I'm sorry. It's like spread the movies out. I know, I know. Back in the day, the Grassy says they have like a bunch of movies released. Yeah, and this is not gonna, and this is not tracking very well. And don't give me that shit. Don't give me that shit at Tom Cruise's box office. No, he's not. Okay, Top Gun did really well. Give him that. But he's been some flops, a lot of flops, and there's no box office draw. Grace Randolph. If Barbie flops at the box office, is Grace Randolph going to attack Margot Robbie again? Because I know her. She's been attacking Margot Robbie over the almost a month, almost a year. She attacked her for what, Babylon and that other movie, and now I think that movie that she's in was she's in Asteroid City, right? Yes, she's in Asteroid City with Scarlett Johansson and Tom Hanks. And that movie's not doing well either at the box office. I'm telling you. There's okay. Nobody in Hollywood is a mega star, okay? Okay? Nobody. I'm blinded.
What's up? What's up?
I'm just saying that everybody's forgetting. There's making all these excuses for box office. Yeah, some of it's true, but they all forget the consumers, why they're not going to the movies. It's not.
Yeah, there's so many different reasons.
Yeah, I saw I mostly saw every movie. That I did not see Elemental. I did not, right? Oh,
Right.
Right.
And Elemental also too was quite expensive for Pixar.
Yeah. So, but the movie theaters, but the problem is, I believe the studios don't understand this. We're not all rich. Like, because the majority of the consumers are not wealthy, man. We can't see every single movie every single week. With a bunch of people.
Right. And then they wonder why some movies do better on streaming.
Yeah, because they rather watch it at home.
Yeah, this whole box office thing, like people are wondering, oh, why are we talking about the box office? I mean, people have been following the box office for years and years, right? Mm-hmm. But this year, I think is particularly complexing because you have all these movies that are
same month.
Well, it's not that they're in the same month, because if we go back, like, Fast 10 and Guardians of the Galaxy, right? And then in March, remember, March was also packed too. Yeah,
stacked
right?
Month too. It was a stacked month.
So all these movies should do pretty well because they're part of a franchises that are already established that made probably $1 billion at some point in time, right? So the fact that they're not doing all that well now, even though things are back to normal, because I also see people are saying, oh, it's because of COVID. It's not because of COVID. That you can't use that excuse anymore, especially when Mario grossed $1 billion.
Well, I think,
and not everything needs to make $1 billion.
2021, when movies were open, it was low because of COVID.
Right.
2022,
for us at least, things were closed at the beginning.
Yeah. For 2020, I kind of agree that there was a lot of. It was actually, I think it was more successful at the box office 2022 than this year because I think people missed the theaters.
Yeah, people miss the theaters. There was some stuff too. I mean, it's kind of weird. Like why did Top Gun do so well? Like people are predicting, oh, this movie was going to be a Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick is an anomaly. I don't think that's ever going to happen again, or at least not recent years.
Dominion was not a good movie. That made $1 billion.
Yeah, well, it's Jurassic, so I think.
Yeah, it is a conclusion, right?
But those movies were very expensive. Like, but if you take Dominion and Fallen Kingdom, their budgets combined were almost close to $1 billion without marketing. That's
Dominion. They had to move. They were filming Australia, but they had to do some scenes and like wherever they went to, like Spain or wherever they went to that. And Spain was pretty much like they had to get special permission by the government to
Right.
film Spain. Like Europe during COVID was like really strict. Like almost all
Right,
the other
right.
countries were really strict, and they had to studios did like and had to spend so much money on COVID protocols, they tests and all that stuff.
I don't think it's because of COVID too. I mean, that could be a factor, yes, but another extra 100 million or even
Well, you'd be
more, I
surprised. You'd be
guess.
surprised.
I guess, but I don't really believe that because, and this is the reason why I don't believe that. This trend is now been going on in a lot of other industries, right? Like the video game industry. We just found out that The Last of Us Part 2, Horizon Forbidden West, those were all $200 million productions, right? And I think God of War Ragnarok as well. So these movies and games, they are costing probably the same amount to make, right? And just to make, we're not talking about marketing or anything else, right? I don't even think they're even factoring in pre-production costs, like the actual production, right?
Yeah.
So and the reason why they're spending so much money is because they're trying to put in as much money, right? They're trying to make the thing actually look good, and they need to spend on the talent and do everything right. And some of these productions too, they're kind of like
I also think
what their money is actually going into is
I
like
also think
they don't know.
I also think the talent makes too much money.
I don't really. I mean, there's that, but
Some of them.
I mean, these sometimes they're not making all that much upfront. Like you have to understand that too, right? They have back end deals. They have certain like sometimes they're like, well, I won't take that much upfront.
When you have a bunch of A-listers, how much of the budget does that take up?
If you have a lot, I'm sure that's going to take up a fair amount.
Look at Asteroid City, like Margot Robbie, Tom.
Yeah, but a lot of Asteroid City, actually, a lot of people weren't paid a lot on that movie. They just did it because they wanted to do
25 million. Okay.
Yeah, like Scarlett Johansson came out and said she was only paid maybe like how much was it? Was it like
it was 25 million the budget? Yeah.
She said it was extremely low, but I mean, once you add it up, like how much weeks she was shooting, she probably shoot for like 6 weeks or a little bit more. She was probably making maybe like $60K, right?
Because it was just for that total movie. Or just
for that movie. Yeah, it wasn't a lot by her standards.
Yeah,
right.
Well,
but that's what happens. Some actors, they take like low pay for a movie they really want to work on, right? Because it will end up either they'll get like nominations or it'll help their career, right?
It's not gonna get any nominations, I can tell you that. Like, it's not doing well.
I don't think so, but it will still put, when people look at her resume and what she's been in recently, that's gonna help her, right? It doesn't matter if people. Wes Anderson is already a acclaimed director, right? So it doesn't matter that much. I'm sure the same thing working with Christopher Nolan, that's going to help a bunch of people's careers, even if it's not nominated.
Oppenheimer is definitely trying to win an Oscar.
It probably won't, though.
No, it won't.
That's been the track record with Christopher Nolan.
Usually, when Oscar-worthy movies, it usually happens around TIFF. TIFF is like the time of the year where that's when Oscar-worthy stuff comes out.
Right.
Usually, by TIFF.
Oppenheimer is trying to. If Oppenheimer was trying to be an awards contender, they should have moved it to November, and they should probably they're trying to market it like every other Christopher Nolan movie, because if you look at Dunkirk made a substantial amount of money for the movie it was, right? It was a World War II movie. And I think that made what? Did it make more than 500 million? I'm pretty sure it did. Let me see. That was 2017, right? Let me see, because I can't remember.
527.
Okay. So I mean that's I don't know how much the budget was. I mean, Christopher Nolan's movies tend to be pretty big.
Deadpool 3 might be shit because of the writer's strike. They can't really improve anything. They can't really change the script. They can't change the writing because of the strike. So they can't. And
They're kind of
I
rushing that movie. I
if
don't
they
know.
get a deal, yeah, if they get a deal done, let's say for example now, a writer strike deal done now, Deadpool probably do go back to reshoots and they could change some stuff up. I'm just saying that now, but
Right.
I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon.
But they're working within.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have never moved it up. I don't know
Yeah,
why
that's
they decided to move it up.
That's strange. That's strange they moved it up because they.
I think
like the
they
first-
I think they knew Captain America wasn't going to do well, which I mean
Yes,
we don't
that's
know. I
true.
haven't seen a trailer, but I don't think that
I think-
movie's going to do well.
Like Captain America, they have to change some stuff up too because they're filming probably the rest of the movie during the writer strike. And
Right.
Marvel, they like to do a lot of reshoots. Especially,
Yeah.
DC does like to do that too, but like
Well, a lot of movies do research, but
yeah.
I'm sure Marvel it's
I guarantee
way more intensive.
they're gonna do. I know we know Marvel and DC does reshoots, but they really want to do reshoots once the writer strike is up.
Yeah.
Up. They want to.
But the
guarantee
thing
Marvel
is, I don't know if that's going to be entirely a good thing though, because look at what happened with Ant-Man. Ant-Man, I feel like was ruined because of reshoots.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just maybe to change the dialogue at times because you can't even change the lines you say.
Well,
Right now.
yeah, they can't change right now at least, but Marvel tends to do reshoots where
Yeah.
it's like they're sometimes changing the entire movie, right? Like we saw with
Well-
Ant-Man, they reshot the ending completely. That wasn't supposed to be the ending.
I think if they get a deal done, the reshoots will be more extensive than the past because during filming, if they don't have a writer strike during the filming, you could change it up. You could change like Marvel does change the script on the fly, right? During filming. So that's why when the writer strikes happen, I think the reshoots it'll be more dramatically done with the film
Right.
because of this.
A lot.
right.
I mean, a lot of Marvel productions have just halted. Right.
Yes. Captain America and Deadpool are the only ones that finish for the movies.
And that's probably because they're coming out next
And-
year.
And they finished filming, but I guarantee you they would say, yeah, we're not really finished.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how those movies turn out because if anybody, if they aren't good movies, right? That's gonna be a massive blow to Marvel where I don't think,
Yes.
especially with Deadpool, I don't see how they're ever gonna recover from that. Deadpool is could make them a lot of money. Even I mean the other Deadpool movies didn't make $1 billion, but and that's another thing too. These movies don't necessarily.
They're rated R, so that kind of hurts the Deadpool movies, right?
It usually does, yeah. But
it says,
these movies don't need to make $1 billion. But here's the thing:
No.
people don't understand, right? When you factor in the budget and how much they're making, yes, they really should be making $1 billion, right? Because that's when you actually make profit. So, especially when you look at if the Flash is $300 million, right? Then they at least need probably 800 just to break even, right? Or 700 to break even.
they
So
probably spend much of that budget money on Ezra's legal fees. I don't know.
I think it's mostly VFX changing the movie. I have no clue. Like, and I guess maybe COVID protocols, if that is
You know
true.
what's
That's
weird? They changed the VFX for some of these movies, like the big budget movies. They're not good.
yeah. The Flash wasn't particularly good, but the excuse was that was an artistic choice. So I mean, I don't really know anymore.
I don't. Here's the thing, guys. Don't expect a good Deadpool movie right now. Deadpool 3 movie right now because of that strike.
I'm not expecting anything great coming out of these. I mean, these movies are in constant flux. Even something like Across the Spider-Verse, they were shooting right up until the movie's premiere, like editing things and changing things, right? And I get it, like it's a little bit different for that type of movie because it's so experimental. But for everything else, like these movies and also two games as well. I'm gonna factor in games because they seemingly have the same problem. They got to stop doing this. They got to stop putting out all this. And I get it. The reason why. Okay. I'm going on a rant. Sorry.
With the consumer stuff, I always say people don't want to pay. That's the same thing with video games.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. And it goes with a lot of stuff when you want to buy something. You're going to pick and choose what you want to spend your money on. And especially here when everything in our country, everything is up. Like, you see the housing market? You see the housing market?
The housing
in our city? We're like
Yeah,
over $1
if you
billion.
way more. Some of
Yeah,
these
way more.
tiny houses
I'm
in
like,
downtown Toronto are 4 million.
yeah, I'm not. Why would I want a tiny house for 4 million? I want a
The
bigger
how
house.
the neighborhood that I live in is already well up to 1 million, and these are not a
Nobody's
million
gonna
dollar
buy that.
houses.
Nobody's gonna pay for that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The inflation here is way worse than the States.
It's still
And
not
that's
really good
probably
in the
because
States.
we have less people and there's
Mhm.
a lot of other. I mean, look at food here.
Oh
Food
fuck.
here has gone up way too much to the
Mm-hmm.
point where now they're even questioning, is this even inflation? That's how much it's gone up.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
Like 4 million,
And
like 3 to 4 million for a tiny house. Come on.
and look at what they're doing here with movie theaters. They had a whole controversy at Cineplex. I know you don't go to Cineplex, but I go to
I
Cineplex
know about the Cineplex controversy, but go ahead and
with
tell everybody.
about the booking fees where
Yeah.
they had hidden fees where
Mm-hmm.
basically if you do a walk up and buy a ticket, you will be charged an extra, I think, $2.
Yeah.
So they incentivize you to buy online and also to have their Cine Club, right? Which is, I guess, like AMC.
Their pass,
Uh,
yes. Yeah.
yeah, you know how AMC in the States they have that, yeah, where you can get a free ticket and you get all these discounts. So it's very similar here. But yeah, the booking fees. A lot of people were outraged by that because they were like, "Hey, why not just charge us more for the ticket?" But the ticket's already more, right? The ticket for premium screens, like an IMAX screen, that's like $20. I think
Degrassi,
maybe like $22 because I don't
Degrassi,
pay that amount. But yeah,
Degrassi, put in the chat about the Batman '89 box office stuff that you private
the
DVD.
Batman '89 was huge.
Yeah, but
That was
like,
a big deal.
just use the ticket prices back then, and how much it would be now. How much it would make now. It's just that people
The
are just forgetting that the consumers are not
Well,
as
if you
good.
consider inflation for the Batman, oh yeah, we should look that up. Yeah, how much? Oh, I just deleted a tab I needed. Crap. The Batman with inflation from that movie made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Inflation. Let me just see. Because there's even Indiana Jones. If you think about it, right? Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, with inflation, that movie made 1.3 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I mean, and then also two Raiders, not Raiders. Oh my God. Crystal Skull with inflation made 1 billion.
Crystal Skull made yes, true.
So if you go back, and I said this too, if you go back and you look, and this is why Hollywood never likes to account for inflation, because if they did, it looks extremely bad, right? I was even saying Guardians of the Galaxy 2014, if you consider it with inflation, that movie made $1 billion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was only 2014.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these other movies that have made
a bounce back year for Marvel because 2013 was not a strong year for Marvel.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wonder how much Thor: The Dark World made with inflation, but
I mean, I know Iron Man 3 made money, but wasn't really a great movie. And Thor: Dark World.
Well, I kind of like it, but yeah.
I think Dark World actually did make money.
Yeah, I don't remember the number, and all of a sudden now my tabs are not working.
Thor: Dark World, 644 million.
600.
Which for bad movie is actually pretty good. Hey, RJ.
That's probably lower than $1 billion with inflation.
Which is for a bad movie is actually pretty good. 644. I think it's benefits from like.
That might be 800 or 900 now, because I think Guardians made more than 700. The first Guardians. Yeah. So yeah.
Iron Man 3, how much did that make?
I think that made what, 1.3 billion?
Yes. I think yes, box office. Yes,
that movie made a lot.
Yeah. It's like the 2013 Marvel movies made money. I mean, Thor: Dark World made money. The 644 million is pretty good back then. Coming off the heels of Avengers, like right. It made pretty decent money. Same with Iron Man. I know there's some people like Iron Man, some people did not like Iron Man. But we gotta be honest, they made money. That's why Marvel really never had to restructure anything. And obviously, 2014 and reception-wise, 2013 Marvel took a bit of a hit. Among the fan base, right? But 2014 Marvel I would say from
Marvel was pretty
2014,
good.
I would say from 2014, Marvel really most of the time, most of their movies really hit just from
Yeah.
2014 on. Like there were some misses. You could say that some of the Ant-Man movies, but most of the movies really. I mean, Age of Ultron hit in terms of box office. It was a very I would say
Oh, it made
mixed
low.
re-
It made less than the first Avengers,
yeah,
but most
it had mixed
sequels do
reaction.
make less money,
Yeah,
right? So,
this Age of Ultron had mixed reactions. It wasn't. It was probably the right,
right.
but I would say most movies since 2014, Marvel has was successful. I mean, 2014 Captain America: Winter Soldier, obviously.
The
Guardians,
average amount Marvel was making back then was like 700, which so that's why some people say now, if you look at their box office, without the exception being Ant-Man, obviously, there was something obviously clearly wrong with Ant-Man, which it was probably because it was a bad movie. Let's be real. So
yes.
most Marvel movies have been doing okay, right? They've been doing right.
2022,
Ant-Man did
they were
900.
successful.
Yeah.
2022, Marvel was successful. The movies. And yeah, Thor: Thunder was a bad movie, but this
Thor made a little bit more than Ragnarok, just a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
It made over 700 million, right? Doctor Strange made almost a billion, just really close. To
Yeah,
billion.
very close.
And Black Panther almost made 900 million. Like it was successful. Now Ant-Man wasn't successful. Guardians is successful.
I wonder the budget for Black Panther, by the way. I wonder the budget.
That was a lot, apparently.
That movie, I mean, they probably should have known it was going to make less because Chadwick Boseman wasn't going to be in it, but I mean, you don't put this amount of money, you don't put 300 plus million into a budget and not expect it to make expect it just to break even. I don't know why. I've been seeing that a lot, especially on Twitter. I mean, this is why I ignore Twitter. If you go on Reddit, a lot of people don't obviously believe that. That's just nonsense, in my opinion. You don't spend 300 million just to make 300 million back. I'm sorry, that's not how that works, right? Because
even.
Yeah, you just break even. Essentially, you paid back everybody you owed, right? Because remember, the studios don't have this money to make the movie. They go to investors, they go to different companies and get that money. So they're just paying off the people that they owe at that point, right? That's not. What's the point of making a big movie then, right? You're trying to make a bunch of money, right? And that's why now they have. I mean, people complain. You always see these people complain about woke and all that stuff. Well, the reason why they do it is because they're trying to appeal to a broader audience. That's the reason why they do it. They don't care about any of these people. I'm sorry to say. They don't care about any of these people. They do it for business.
Yeah.
That's what people got to understand. It's all for business. Why did they change The Little Mermaid? Because if you look at the demographic, a lot of the people who saw The Little Mermaid, the reboot, don't go to the movies. They don't go to the movies. There's a whole demographic breakdown right now on Reddit of all the movies that came out, and you could see a lot of these movies, The Flash, Fast 10, Transformers, Across the Spider-Verse, all these movies have the same crossover in their demographic. To me, I think that's a problem. That's a problem because all these people who are going to see these movies are literally made for a specific kind of person.
Yeah.
So of course,
Barbie's
except for Barbie. Barbie's not made for the demographic who's seeing The Flash.
Yeah. Like if Barbie is gonna flop the box office, it's not because don't blame people not seeing it. It's the target audience. A certain target audience, people are not gonna see that movie.
And hopefully that movie costs less because then it might, do okay.
I'm not the people that say they're not doing well because of woke have no idea what's.
Yeah, they're that's not the problem. I don't think that's really the problem. Maybe you could say that there's some audience and they're burnt out. Right. Because if you think about it, the same demographic that would say the woke, they didn't show up for Little Mermaid, right?
I kind of need a break from seeing like 5 movies in less than a month.
They got to stop.
They got to stop. It does tire you out, yes.
It does tire. I mean, the thing is, I only saw one movie. Oh, actually, no, I did see Across the Spider-Verse in June. I forgot that was in June.
I mean, let's be honest. I did see Across the Spider-Verse.
I saw Flash.
I saw Spider-Verse, Transformers, Flash.
I didn't see Transformers.
Destiny. So it's 4 movies. Like
I didn't see Indiana Jones either.
It does burn you out. It does get you burn you out. But yeah, I was gonna say what was I gonna say?
Indiana Jones is. Let's hope that next weekend it holds, because if it doesn't, good
It's
lord.
not gonna hold.
If it's 60 less, 60 and less, maybe it would be okay. I don't think it's gonna be 60 and less. If it's 70 and above, if it's 70, I think that's pretty bad. Or anything higher than 65, that would be pretty bad. Because then that shows like most people don't care for the movie.
It's his last hurrah.
Well, they said that about the last one.
Yeah, well, I think they were not happy with the last one.
I mean, I'm one of the people who actually like the Crystal Skull. And to be honest, after that movie, if you couldn't bring back Spielberg and let him do whatever he wanted to do, then I don't think they should have never done it, right? Because the problem with the quote unquote problem, because I don't have a problem with it, but the quote unquote problem with Crystal Skull was because of George Lucas. It was George Lucas's idea to do that, do the whole thing with the aliens. Spielberg didn't even want to do that. So, why not just make a Spielberg idea Indiana Jones movie, right?
Yeah.
That's what they should have done.
Also, like, guys, like, so it's just like when we said the Flash flop, oh, it's just a DC trend. No, it's not. It's more than a DC trend, guys. It's too crowded. People are just going to pay their money to see which trigger. Oh, I'll tell you this, Brian. There's people out there that have no idea what movies are in the theaters, but they decide with their family, let's see a movie, and they look on the computer or on paper. They still this movie's on paper, so the section.
Right.
To be honest,
or they look at the movie listings.
Yeah, the movie listings. They look at it. Oh, what do you want to see? Sometimes they don't pay attention to they don't go on Twitter.
Right. Yeah. Most people aren't on Twitter.
Most people we follow on Twitter, like in our community or wherever, we see all the movies.
Yeah, they were the exception. We shouldn't even be counted, because those are kind of like guarantees, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're niche audiences, right? Mm-hmm. We can't carry a movie on our own. I think people have to understand that.
Yes.
Well, I think that's also the reason why The Flash didn't do well too. I don't think The Flash had very good marketing.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Because I don't remember seeing any sort of advertisement. The only advertisement I seen was on a bus.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't see like, the posters that you would see at the bus stop, or when you go to Dundas Square, there's like, there's The Flash right there, right? I didn't see none of that for The Flash, which I think they kind of messed up too. They should have advertised that movie more.
They're promoting Barbie everywhere. I think they had the premiere in Toronto, actually, Barbie.
That's interesting.
Well, because two of their cans are Canadian.
Right, yeah, they got two people. Right.
Hey, Blue Jay, what's up?
What's up? Well, I think he's having some difficulties.
Let's see.
Hello?
Yeah, what's up?
What's up?
Okay, my mic just goes in and out when I go on stream. So
no problem.
Yeah. You guys are talking about like the movies, or like some of the movies are bombing this summer and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, like I was talking about this with George like yesterday after the stream or whatever, because like I never really understood, like, say you're like a studio executive, and if you want your movies to come out, sure, put your movie in June, but your movie is already, June has always been a very stacked month when it comes to movies. That's like a given. Mm-hmm. But every week it's movies like blockbusters every single week, which on paper that's exciting, but for your business, that's not good, really. Like, because the only reason Spider-Verse did so well, because it's the first one out the gate, obviously. It's the first one
Right.
out the gate comes to June, and it's a really great film. Transformers is doing decent, okay. And the next you got the Flash, Element.
People were considering Transformers a bomb when it came out, by the way, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
Because now in retro and hindsight, it really isn't.
yeah, it's actually doing pretty decent. Being like the second blockbuster, and then the Flash and Elemental are just really flopping.
Right.
And then the next, I don't think it wasn't.
The Flash is dead.
Yeah,
The Flash is coming out on digital, next week?
Yeah.
next week.
Or is it this week?
Oh boy, yeah, next week,
Yeah, okay.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
next week.
15th.
15, okay. I thought it was like the 12th or something. Yeah, that movie's dead.
Yeah.
No, India's going to join. it
And
very soon.
well, in the case of Elemental, Disney did that to themselves by basically having all these Pixar movies come out just like on Disney Plus, and people just would rather see them at home.
See,
Right.
also, I like Indiana. I like Indy 5, but why would you put that in June on June? Indy seems like a movie that it would have been
Because it's always played in June.
well,
Yeah.
I understand it, but like it would have been a perfect Christmas movie, honestly. Because Star Wars movies have been released on Christmas lately. Why don't you do the same with Indiana Jones? Because you're releasing a movie that is under the same company 2 weeks after another movie under the same company,
yeah.
because they're kind of cannibalizing each other.
Disney Star Wars have been released on Christmas. Star Wars used to be released in spring.
Yeah. Star Wars
that
used
is
to be
true.
a May
May.
release date. The only Disney Star Wars movie that came
Was
out
The
Except
Force
for Solo.
Awakens. The
No,
Force
Solo-
Awakens started.
Yes.
So Force Awakens was at Christmas.
Yeah, Solo was
Solo
the only
was
one
a-
that's come out in May.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
movie
actually
flopped.
that was a mistake on
Oh, yeah,
Lucasfilm
definitely.
to actually have that come out, because you have it come out a few
Way
weeks
too-
after, between Infinity War coming out and just crushing the box office, and people were still whining about The Last Jedi. That
Right.
movie was never going to come out, and Deadpool 2 was actually doing pretty good that month as well. So you had two superhero movies that were doing pretty good that more people were interested in than a Star Wars movie that was coming out months after Last Jedi.
They should have delayed that movie to be to be honest, it would have flopped in that December too. It would have flopped
Yeah,
in
because
December.
that was a crowded December to begin with. Aquaman.
I'm gonna say
Spider-Verse,
Indiana
probably.
Jones, I think anywhere you stuck that movie, it was gonna flop. I'm sorry, guys.
Why is
I'm sorry. That movie was gonna flop
why-
regardless.
Why is Warner Bros.
I think, yeah, I'm gonna, because
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have to agree with that, because I think no matter how good people think Indy was or bad, because it's a movie that people are kind of debating on, but between the online discourse and a lot of young people just aren't into Indiana Jones. I mean, I love Indiana Jones, but it like people around my age and younger, they don't gravitate to it like they would
Yeah.
anything else.
I agree.
It's been
I
way
agree.
too long. It's
When I
been
went to
15
see it-
years.
And
Yeah.
look,
When I went to see
I'm not saying Top Gun Maverick last year was a fluke, but because of how well received that movie was, like that drove interest.
I think that was a fluke, George, to be honest.
When I went to see Indiana
I
Jones-
honestly don't even know, like, if can't even tell at this point.
when
I
went
think
to see
it's just
Indiana
because of
Jones,
Tom
there was
Cruise.
older- Nah, Tom Cruise.
No,
Cruise
because
was the reason.
Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning would be like, I think, doing better in
Blue Jay,
pre-sales.
Blue Jay. There's
Well-
no movie. There's no box office movie star anymore.
Well, to be
No.
fair, Top Gun did not open massive. So
Yeah.
Mission Impossible might not open massive. I mean, the ceiling, I think they have it at 900 Jesus, 90
that's
million
pretty good.
opening, domestic. So, and then I think like the lowest is 60. So with anything within that range is the same as Top Gun Maverick.
Actually, let me check. Let me actually.
What was I gonna say? Like when I went to see Indiana Jones, it was mostly older people. Like
Yeah,
older than
like
me.
that's the thing. I think I was the youngest one in my theater when I
Yeah.
saw it.
Older than me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most people under, I want to say
mean-
under 30 don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Indiana Jones. Don't get me wrong. I grew up on Indy, but again, I'm not everyone. How many people around my age can safely say an Indiana Jones movie is in their top 5 or top 10? Like I have Last Crusade in my top 5 favorite movies.
And also too, Harrison Ford hasn't really been a leading man recently. Like within the last 15 years, he hasn't really done much.
He's not like younger people. I mean,
He's
are
more of a supporting actor now, to be
into
honest.
him.
Yeah, he's not the same.
I mean,
he's not the
but
same
let's
anymore.
be real here. People went to see Star Wars not because of just because of Harrison Ford. They saw it because it's Star Wars and other
Exactly.
people were returning.
And
it
he
wasn't
did.
just
And he
on,
did.
on Solo.
Yeah, it did say the original were returning, right? They said Leia, Luke.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was at the forefront of the marketing for Force Awakens. Like he was at the forefront. He was heavily marketed, but
That was a given. He's on Solo.
it's like, Star Wars, no matter what's going to do well. Like the prequels did well, even though, despite the mixed reception, despite the fact that you had a younger Obi-Wan, younger Anakin.
Because the thing is, because we didn't have Star Wars.
There was Star Wars was missing for almost 20 years.
Phantom Menace broke records. People don't realize, despite the mixed response Phantom Menace got, that broke records for its time.
Phantom Menace, the first Star Wars came out in 1977, right?
Yeah, and it ended in 1983.
Yeah.
So it was like
98.
Was it 98? I thought it was 99.
That was 99.
No.
In 1999.
Yeah,
99.
99.
Well, 22 years. 22 years. And the only thing we got live action Star Wars is like specials, like Christmas specials. We got video games, but it's not the same.
But here's the thing. I think like Star Wars as a brand, I think has always just been stronger than Indiana Jones as a brand.
Yeah.
Because
I guess yes. I mean, Indiana Jones, like I said, we shouldn't underestimate. Indiana Jones did do well. We were just talking about if you convert the inflation, those movies made well past $1 billion. But Star Wars has obviously made
it's because
a lot more.
I mean, I feel like
Ford was so hot back then. Like,
if kids were to be more interested in something, I would think kids would be more interested in Star Wars than Indiana Jones. I mean, I love Indiana Jones because I've always loved history.
I want to see the inflation conversion for Star Wars. It must be a lot.
If these kids watched the Star Wars back then in the 70s and 80s, they would watch the Indiana Jones movies because of Harrison Ford.
Well, I'm going to be curious to see what happens with Star Wars in a couple years because I don't.
Here's the other thing: Star Wars has had more exposure than Indiana Jones. You've had more Star Wars shows. I mean, people think like the 2008 Clone Wars was the first Star Wars cartoon. No, remember there was a cartoon in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith on Cartoon Network.
Indiana Jones
that was pretty solid.
Indiana Jones is not as big as a franchise as Star Wars. I mean, there's some stuff, but that's expanded a little bit, but not compared to Star Wars.
I mean, look, the people who grew up as kids watching the original Star Wars probably grew up watching the original Indiana Jones, but because there's been more Star Wars movies that have come out since then, more Star Wars video games, books, TV shows, like it's grown as a franchise where anyone of any age is interested in Star Wars. Like even kids today, like even if they may not be interested in the original trilogy, they are interested in Mandalorian, Baby Yoda, whatever's on Disney Plus. So like that franchise is always finding ways to get in. That's another thing. Like as heavily marketed as Michael Keaton was in The Flash, younger
it's too far removed. It's too far removed.
Aren't that familiar with him? They're not as familiar with him as they are Christian Bale.
I think if and we did talk about that. If it was Christian Bale, I think it would have done better. If it was Michael Keaton, if they did this movie back in 2016 or 2018, it might have done a little bit better. But I think it's way too far removed now. It's like what, 34 years? I think they need it. If you want to capture a nostalgia, I think you got to do it closer to either 30 or like maybe 25. 30, I think, is kind of pushing it, to be honest.
I mean, they benefited. Like you're saying, like Spider-Man No Way Home, what benefited with the nostalgia there is the fact that Toby and Andrew have been fresh on people's minds for quite a while. Like, and those movies, I think, were easier.
Those movies were recent. Those were under 25.
And I feel like those were easier to access as far as like being on TV. Like FX used to show like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies so many times on TV. Mm-hmm. Like compared to like finding on TV Batman 89 or Batman Returns. I mean, I watched those a couple of times.
The first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire made a lot of money.
That was revolutionary for its time, like as far as the box office went. Like that broke so many records.
That movie is the reason why Marvel always sticks their movies at the beginning of May.
I mean, what Sam Raimi has always said, not Sam Raimi, Stan Lee has said that's the first Spider-Man movie.
When Marvel, I know,
because that sparked this whole superhero genre.
I know Blade in the 90s. Blade was technically Marvel's like first 90s movie.
Yeah, that movie did well, but it didn't do Spider-Man well. That's what people have to remember.
Because Blade wasn't really a relatively big character.
And it was rated R.
It was rated R. wasn't a big Marvel character. But once X-Men got announced and Spider-Man got announced, because they pretty much came out almost like X-Men came out 2000, Spider-Man came out 2002, but they're
True.
pretty much announced maybe pretty much the same time. That was big because those were like the two biggest Marvel franchises, Spider-Man and X-Men.
And here's
Right.
the thing about Batman. It actually kind of took a while for Batman to be a box office juggernaut again, because
Yep.
as great as Batman Begins was, it didn't make a lot of money.
Yep.
I'll
Yep.
be right back.
I don't even think it made 400. I think it like almost.
Let me see. Let me
I think
see.
it was 350.
I think
350. Yeah. Okay.
it wasn't until The Dark
Let me
Knight
see.
that movie made $1 billion. Then
It was
Dark Knight
373.
Okay.
Yeah, close.
I
close
mean,
to
I mean,
350.
at that time, that was they were probably fine with that because people weren't paying attention to big box office numbers at that time. So I think that was a satisfying number for that time.
I mean that change. I mean they had no clue what to do with Batman at that point, so they were. I mean that was like decent for them, right? Because they
Yeah.
thought this movie was gonna flop. Because you have to understand this too. This is also very interesting because now we all know the concept of a reboot. But back then, in 2005, that wasn't actually a common thing to do, right? People didn't actually understand what a reboot was. And so they were scared that Batman Begins, they thought people would think that this was Michael Keaton's version of Batman, or like the Michael Keaton, Kilmer, and George Clooney version of like his origin, right?
Yeah, as a kid, I'll be gonna be honest. As a kid, because it said Batman Begins, I thought this was a prequel movie going into
Yeah.
it. I thought this was gonna be like a prequel to how he became Batman, because you never really saw the origin in the other movies.
Yeah, that's what Warner Brothers thought. Like they were very scared about this movie, and then it did well. And then the fact that The Dark Knight, the Dark Knight, The Dark Knight's really weird. I don't know really why that movie was successful. Maybe you could say it was Heath Ledger's death, and so people were kind of curious. But like something about The Dark Knight just was like I don't know how it exploded that much.
Yeah,
in
because
comparison.
I'm looking at the discrepancy. So like Batman Begins opened with like 48. Then you
Right.
go to like The Dark Knight, it's $158 million domestically opening.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, what was the competition for
That's-
that summer? I mean, Incredible Hulk didn't really do that well in the box office that summer.
Indiana Jones, Crystal Skull. That was
yeah, that did. I mean,
that did
I think
actually
so.
decent.
Yeah,
It
that
did
did
decent.
decent.
Like I said, the inflation. If you convert that movie to inflation, it made $1 billion.
Yeah. I think what made Dark Knight work was definitely Heath Ledger's acting as a Joker, because Heath Ledger was not people were wary of Heath Ledger not knowing, because people didn't really think Heath Ledger actually was a really good actor. I mean, he's been in some roles that's not exactly as good looks would get him by in some of his movies in the past. And Joker is really, I think, the first movie where The Dark Knight is where he really had to act his ass off as a Joker, because Joker is one of those villains where if you get the role of the Joker, I'll say for a lot of comic book characters, especially villains, especially Batman villains, you have to act your ass off to play those villains.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And he did that, and I think he broke. It's tragic, but I think he broke the stigma that he can't act, which in that movie it proved he could.
Right. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
because many people always contribute that movie to his downfall. But
I argue
doubt it.
if you're playing a comic book villain, you have to act your ass off more playing a villain than a hero.
I mean, I think that was always the case.
Mhm.
That was always the case because that was already set up by Jack Nicholson, right? Like Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson playing the Joker was a big deal. He made a lot of money off of that movie.
Batman, you have to play actually two people, man. You have to play this playboy billionaire who's like, and then you have to play Batman, who's really close-minded. He's
I feel like
But they kind of didn't do that though with Michael Keaton.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, Michael Keaton was kind of very similar as Batman and Bruce Wayne.
They didn't know. Remember that scene when they went Knox and Vicky Vale went to that
Knox.
room with the collections of different armor sets or wherever from around the world, and they didn't even know what Bruce Wayne looked like. I'm sorry, but in Batman, you have to know what Bruce Wayne looks like. I'm sorry. Like,
it's like, well, yeah, and also like Keaton's Bruce Wayne. As much as I love his Batman, his Bruce Wayne was kind of socially awkward
Right, yeah.
compared to the playboy that wasn't afraid to act
Hey,
like a drunk in the
Robert
Nolan
Parrish
trilogy.
is looking. Well, I'll say this. You know what's funny, George? Robert Parrish's Batman was most reclusive, right? Right? He didn't go out much, but they
Mm.
all knew what he looked like. They all knew who he was, even
Yeah,
around
they were all
public.
like, "Hey, it's Bruce Wayne." Yeah.
It's like,
He's like, "Oh, sorry, Bruce Wayne." He's
I like Keaton's Batman, but he's not. I like Keaton's Batman, but he's not my Batman in terms of what my Batman needs to be.
Yeah, he's too. I think that's also. They should have. They really.
The Flash did I'll say by now. Let's get him. The Flash actually made Keaton's Batman what I want him to be, though. Kind of.
You know, if they really did go through with Michael Keaton being a Batgirl, I don't think that would have done very well.
No.
Because I know on people, because you always see people on Twitter like, and this is why now I feel like anything that's on Twitter, if the studio's listening to the people on Twitter, they should listen to the fans, like the people, right, and care about the source material. But I wouldn't pay attention too much to what people are saying on Twitter, to be honest, because first off, one, if you ask a bunch of people in their real life, most people have no clue. They don't have any of the opinions that people have on Twitter, right? When it comes to these movies, right? Like the one that's always perplexing to me is, why do people hate Far From Home? Right? Because if you would think, oh, people hate Far From Home, but the movie made a bunch of money. It was widely received well. And it probably contributed to No Way Home's success, right? Because if No Way Home probably would have always made a bunch of money. But if Far From Home was a bad movie and it tanked, right? No Way Home, people would be kind of skeptical, right? So this is why I never listen to what people are saying on Twitter.
That's the same.
Culture is so weird.
That's the same thing with like when I see people talk about Ralph Breaks the Internet. Like, I like the movie. It people have this weird, like, it's you can have your opinion, but I think people have this weird like hatred towards a movie that's like not even all that first off, it's kind of harmless, really. I like.
There's nothing egregious going on, right?
Yeah, it's like, I don't fucking know. Like Twitter. Like Twitter is just Twitter. That's why I don't pay attention. I feel like studios really don't really need to listen to people, or social media in general. Really,
I mean,
like, well, when
they should look at it, but they should be very careful of what they consider is the general opinion. Yeah. Right. Because in reality, they're actually looking at a niche, or they're looking at a certain group of people and thinking that, oh, everybody has the same opinions. But you don't know the person's age. You don't know the person's race. Right. A lot of these people obviously are hiding behind avatars like, me. Right. How are you going to determine my race? Right. If I'm just saying a bunch of crap on Twitter. Right. So it's like, you're not going to know. Right. And I think I want to say it was a couple years ago. They were like having issues with like they were like listening and analyzing Twitter, taking all that data and determining, what we should make on streaming. Right. And it's like, probably not a good idea. I mean, you should probably go off of what people are watching on your site, right? Your algorithm itself. Right. I mean, look at, I mean, I know I don't want to bring this up, but look at the Snyder Cut people. I mean, they are feverish in thinking that their whole movement is successful when in reality it's not. I don't know I don't know any person in real, when I'm like, oh, you know what? The Snyder Cut's actually good. And I tell them, no, it's 4 hours. They're like, 4-hour comic book movie? Are you serious? I'm not watching that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know where these, and that's why we keep saying it's all bots. It's all people playing with the algorithm, messing crap up, and thinking, oh, we have this large, we got millions of tweets, we're trending. In reality, that means nothing. That means nothing in the grand scheme of things.
I think it's part of people just thinking Twitter is real life.
Their content, it's spamming. Their spamming is like suppressing the system.
Yes, that's what's going on.
Twitter suppresses their hashtag because that considers spamming.
So much botting and spamming is going on with that. all that Snyder crap, man. I don't.
Yeah.
You tell people this, right? I get it. You want to be a fan and stuff. I don't have a problem with the Snyder Cut. That was actually the only Snyder movie that I liked from the DC EU, right? So
Yeah, it was good.
yeah, it was actually
great.
decent. It was actually decent, but it was 4 hours of decent, right? So it's like,
And there's still
You know what I
stuff
mean?
it didn't need to be
And-
4 hours.
And,
I-
and
It
people
didn't, I agree.
people keep saying that movie would have done well in the box office. It's
no,
No,
not
no.
4 hours.
Even
And
if they
every-
cut that thing down to 2 hours, I'm sure you can cut it down to 2 hours. That movie still would have
Yeah,
flopped.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Nice stuff.
obvious.
Didn't-
Yeah, these people have
People are
no
people-
grasp of what's going on. They would rather
the
end
Snyder
friendships.
The Snyder fanboys were going on a rampage when a couple days ago when it came out that Cavill would prefer the optimistic, the reading cut.
Which is something we've already known about.
Yes,
Yeah.
we knew that.
That's not news, but apparently it is to them.
Cavill
Holy.
likes things authentic, right? He likes things to be authentic to the source, right? And that's the problem he has in The Witcher. That's why he's leaving. He's leaving The Witcher because not because he wants to go back to movies or other stuff. It's because he has.
Well, he's not happy with the
$1,000.
production.
Yeah, and
I mean, look,
that's
isn't
real.
this new season getting bad reviews? I have not been
Oh,
keeping up with
I
The
actually
Witcher.
really
So.
like it. It's actually pretty good this season. I actually really like it.
Oh,
I like
okay.
the 5th episode.
But is it like
I
the
don't know. I haven't
consensus
checked it.
is?
I
Okay.
haven't checked it, but yeah, like.
Oh man, I just
It's just the thing is that I think the problem that I've noticed the last few years, and maybe this has happened longer. It's like I've really only been active on Twitter since COVID, so I don't really know what Twitter
And
was
here's-
like pre-COVID. But it's like I've noticed that because people have spent way too much time on
it
it,
was peaceful.
they think Twitter is the automatic opinion of the world. Like you brought up
Yeah.
about Far From Home, I didn't know the hate for Far From Home until Twitter
See,
because if
Yeah,
you
and they
look
never
at-
explain why they hate this
Yeah.
movie. They show
Yeah,
one
'cause-
scene, and I kind of agree with that. But I'm like, you hate the movie because of that one scene? I don't
It's
understand.
Here's the
Mhm.
thing, because I look at sites like Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score was 90%. I think it still is 90%.
see,
Yeah, I
Far From
just
Home.
watched that movie. I'm like debating on whether I like it more than Homecoming, because I'm like, I
Yeah,
actually
I
like
hope-
Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. I thought he was
Yeah,
really good in the movie.
I personally
too.
like it more than Homecoming,
See, like
but that's my
here's
opinion.
here's my thing. Like I don't, man. People need to stop. Really, I really they need to stop looking at Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritics as like their basis and stuff. Because I remember like when Elemental was like released in like the Cannes Film Festival.
Mhm.
People were like freaking out. Like, oh my gosh, it's like
Same
under
with Indiana Jones.
60%, 55% or whatever. I'm like,
Same with Indiana Jones.
yeah, even
Same
Indiana
thing with
Jones
Indiana
and stuff.
Jones.
And everybody,
Yeah.
everybody was like, because Elemental came out the same day as The Flash. People were saying, "Go see Elemental," so The Flash will bomb. Go, yeah,
Actually,
a movie
let-
that
I
will
think
also bomb as well.
Yeah, those two movies bombed too. Oh, yeah, that's hilarious.
well, yeah, and I mean, like I feel like again with Elemental, part of the problem with that is I think audiences have gotten so used to seeing Pixar movies at home.
Hey, you want to know
Mhm.
something? You want to know something? The people that went to CinemaCon are hardcores, not general.
Oh yeah, never believe these. That's another thing too. That's another great point. Listen, I know some people do like The Flash. That's fine.
I do like it.
I thought the movie was going to be good, and then I saw the movie and I thought, what the hell? If I was one of the people that was at Warner Brothers Studios and they were telling me this movie was good, I would have been like, you guys are listen. You can like the movie, but if you
Tom
think this
Cruise,
movie's
it's
going to
Tom
do
Cruise.
well, you got to be on something. You got to be on
Well,
something because this
Tom
movie
Cruise-
was
Tom-
not going to do well after you watch the 2-hour movie itself.
Don't-
I'm
don't-
sorry.
The Tom Cruise thing. Let's be honest here. Tom Cruise promotes anything. He was promoting Barbie and Oppenheimer and Indiana Jones.
Tom
Movies he's
Cruise,
competing
Tom Cruise
against.
loves every movie.
He's going to promote. Listen. He wants to get people in the theaters no matter
He just-
what.
what's he
He's going
trying
to
to do,
promote
get-
anything to get people in a theater.
What's he trying to do? Try to get everybody on everybody's good graces to studios. You're Tom Cruise, man. They're gonna hire you. You don't need like the sucker.
I bet there was some some deal he did just so he can have his name out there and say, "Oh, The Flash was a good movie," because it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't.
For DCU.
Like,
Well,
You to call it. Listen, you can say the movie is good. You like the movie. It's
Yeah,
a good
like,
movie.
that's
It's
what I
fine.
said.
To
I
call it the best comic book movie ever, you need to. I'm sorry, James Gunn, David Zaslav, the people who said that quote. I will never take you serious again.
Listen.
And I don't even do that. I don't even like making exaggerated statements. I'm sorry. I cannot trust you.
Let's be honest about James Gunn. He's got a really weird opinion when it comes to comic book movies. Because I saw some of the movies on his top 5 comic book. I'll give him Superman 1978 and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. A History of Violence? That doesn't make most people.
I mean, it's a comic book movie. It's a comic book movie technically.
No, it's
yes.
a good movie, but it's like to say it's like a top 5 when it's not even on most people's top 15. That's a stretch for his
So
opinion.
I want to let you know whenever I do get early access to go see Aquaman 2.
Oh man.
It's one of the best movies right up
Hey,
there.
the bright side is
Dark
I know.
Knight, Superman
The bright side-
1976.
You know what? I'm gonna look at James.
The bright side is
Oh no, Blue Jay,
2025.
no.
2025
Wait a minute, hold on. James Gunn also has Old Boy and Deadpool on his top 5.
The bright side is 2025. We might actually get the best comic book movie. Might be actually Spawn, because if it's by Blumhouse, it actually might be the best.
Might be
comic book
different.
movie. Yeah, it might
Yeah,
actually
might
be
be
the best
different.
comic book
Yeah.
movie. Blumhouse does a great job, right? Like
Sometimes they're always hit and miss,
And-
but they do occasionally do make
Or-
something really good.
and Jason Blum, is his name Jason?
Yeah, Jason Blumhouse. Yeah,
And he did
or
come out a
Blum.
couple days ago. So he's really,
I said Blumhouse. Oh my god.
yeah, he's really excited for Spawn.
I'm gonna come out of Blue Beetle saying this
Blue
film
Beetle's gonna flop.
is
I
a
just-
100. No, what I mean, hold on.
Come on, Brian. If DC if Flash is gonna flop, Blue Beetle flops, you know what's gonna happen.
You guys are way too pessimistic. Hold
Well,
on.
I'm just going by the trends, man.
I wasn't even gonna say that. I wasn't gonna say that.
Hold
But
on,
continue.
I wanna-
Sorry.
I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles might
I'm-
make more than Blue Beetle.
I'm gonna come out of Blue Beetle saying that this film was not only the greatest DC film I've
Oh
ever
man.
seen, not only the greatest comic book movie I've ever seen, but the greatest movie since Schindler's List.
Oh man.
Oh no, my goodness!
Oh my god.
And I will put this film on the contender for Best Picture at the Academy Awards.
Well,
No man.
Well, here's the thing. Here's an
Oh,
even
man.
bigger stretch. Right now, the highest rated movie on IMDb, which is more fan scores, is Shawshank Redemption. Basically, just say this Blue
This-
Beetle should top Shawshank Redemption.
That's
It's not gonna
crazy.
happen.
I don't think Blue Beetle will bomb. If it does bomb, it's got to be extremely low numbers. Because if it does Flash numbers, that's actually decent.
because that doesn't have as high of a budget.
Yeah.
Because
That's the thing. The
That would be a
Flash has
success.
crazy budget.
I look at it this, okay? There's studios that have their ups and downs and stuff.
You can gamble Blue Beetle. that's what you're doing.
Look, I'm not making it like I'm looking at the
Right.
bright side. I'm not saying Blue Beetle's gonna be a flop or a hit. I'm not saying Aquaman 2 is gonna flop or a hit. I'm just saying in the future they're gonna have a hit. It's
Fair.
If
They
I
did
if I
have
had to
because-
put money on what will
You did
now
they did
be
have
the
hits.
better successful DC, I don't know if I'll like the movie.
They did. DC did have hits. It was just Elseworld stuff.
Well, yeah, it's just been Batman stuff. For being honest.
Yeah, Joker and the Batman.
Yeah.
yeah, like it's still DC. I mean, they're gonna make the money. They're gonna make the money.
I don't know. I think DC. I think that if Blue Beetle does flop, okay, this has got to be one of the most pathetic flops
Has
of
to
all
be
time,
brilliant,
right?
but-
That's got to be pretty bad, right?
It has to be
August-
brilliant.
If Aquaman flops, I think the DC brand is eroded. I don't think this is going to be successful. I think they should pack it up and wait. Okay, do the Batman, do Joker, but anything else, I would say no. Even this Brave and the Bold thing, I would backtrack that whole Andy Muschietti directing that movie. Backtrack, pick somebody else, because that movie, if it's more of a light, which by the way, the Grant Morrison book does like change in tone, right? It's not like super dark, but it's also not like super campy. It's like in the middle.
So get Bobby Reyes. Get the Ghost Rider. Marvel could have got Bobby Reyes' Ghost Rider.
They could have done that, but I don't think they care. I don't think Marvel cares about any of their horror characters.
Anthony, but the thing is, it's Blue Beetle, man. He's not a big time superhero. Like it's like a B, C-list character. Like
Listen,
I mean, if the Flash can flop, I mean, like
yeah,
right.
And the thing is, Blue Beetle's not as big of a name as Black Panther.
No, virtually no. Outside of people who read comic books, I don't think anybody knows who Blue Beetle is.
Or the show.
I mean, let's be real here. The first time I discovered Blue Beetle was Batman the Brave and the Bold.
You know what Blue
animated
Beetle's
show.
Blue Beetle's most famous incident was, and this was not Bobby Reyes' character or whatever Jaime Reyes' character. It was Ted Kord's character. Is when he got his head shot by Maxwell Lord. That's the most famous incident in Blue Beetle's whatever's career.
Wait,
Ted Kord is always dead.
From
Yeah,
Wonder Woman
that's a
1984
joke.
that was going. What do you wish for?
Yeah,
Oh my!
Yeah, that wasn't Maxwell Lord.
that's Maxwell Lord.
Oh
Yeah.
my
God.
Well, you know what? Pedro Pascal is a very good actor, but good lord, they made him so over the top in that movie.
Well, the thing is, Maxwell Lord hates metahumans, right? Like, what the hell is that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the DC brand after the Flash.
He's not simply. I know he's not really a Wonder Woman villain like Maxwell Lord. I mean, he got killed by Wonder Woman, but he's not specifically. He's more of a kind of a bigger Justice League kind of / checkmate villain, isn't he? Like
He's all over the place, to be honest.
All I can say is that the DC discourse for the next few years is going to be very interesting.
The discourse.
That's why they gotta kill this thing, man.
And honestly, you know what? If I'm these new actors that are playing Superman and Lois, I would just stay away from social media for a while. I would just avoid. Do not talk to anyone. Do not talk anything about Superman and Lois. Don't say your opinions on how these characters are perceived.
I would also go to if I was what's the guy playing Superman? I would go to James Gunn and say, "Shut the hell up! Hey, shut the hell up! You're gonna ruin my movie now."
Peter Safran needs to pull James Gunn inside and say, "Listen, maybe we shouldn't be too transparent because right now things are not going our way as far as getting people excited."
They would have told him a long time ago to stop.
They should have knowing. I feel like James Gunn is going to cause and it's not even the fact that his movies are going to be bad, right? Or I think anything outside of his movies might be bad. I think that's highly likely, right? At this rate, I'm sorry to say, but anything he makes, I'm sure is going to be extremely good. And he should be worried because if his movies are just the ones that are good and everything else that he just produces are okay. Yeah, like it's not going to look good. I'm sorry. It's really not. Because then at that point, the DCU is just James Gunn.
Because
right?
Here's the thing. And I said this on my Flash stream, and I think even Sean O'Rourke, who was in my chat, agreed with me. James Gunn can make great movies, but there's a difference between directing movies and running a whole universe. You can start this thing off with a bang with a great Superman movie, Superman Legacy. But then it's like, okay, we go to Brave and the Bold next. Brave and the Bold does not turn out good. Does not do
well on a creative level. On a creative level, I think his producing is not going to be good, in my opinion.
Then you got Supergirl. Supergirl doesn't turn out good. We don't even know who's in line to direct Supergirl or the Authority.
I know. I have a feeling I know who's going to direct.
I'm going to be honest. Even though I did like Dial of Destiny, I would start to be a little bit concerned with James Mangold being on board for Swamp Thing.
If Barbie is very successful, Greta Gerwig is going to direct Supergirl. I think it's going to happen.
Sasha Calle is not going to be DCU Supergirl. I know she's not going to be it. I'm telling you.
I mean, Greta did said like she's going to move to like.
If they're adapting that Supergirl tomorrow, Woman of Tomorrow story, that's very like.
It's not going to be her.
Similar to her style.
It's not going to be Sasha Calle.
No, it's not. They're going to get a new actress. Yeah.
But Greta Gerwig is moving to Netflix, so she's doing the Narnia movies.
Well, I mean, Barbie's a WB movie, so if that movie's successful, I'm sure they're going to be like, "You're going to stay here."
Yeah, but she
Oh,
said
yeah,
she's working.
yeah,
But I
Warner
don't know,
Brothers
Brandon,
will
if
be
you
like-
have, I don't know if you've
like-
been on. You haven't been on.
I
Twitter,
seen,
but
I
they-
seen, I seen that. I did see that. It was on Reddit. I just don't think. I mean, they haven't.
I mean, I like
They haven't
Barbie.
done much on that movie.
like
How many movies? Andy Muschietti was supposed to direct a Netflix movie. What movie?
Oh,
He was supposed to direct a Netflix movie. I'm trying to remember. It was like a bit. I thought it was an anime. Oh yeah, it was Attack on Titan.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it was Netflix.
Do you
And then
see-
they scooped him up for
I know
Brave
you
and
have
the
it on
Bold.
Twitter. You see everybody having orgasm. The Snyder Cut fans having orgasm of the Rebel Moon pictures that came out yesterday. Oh, it's gonna be like,
I didn't see
Star
that,
Wars.
so
I'm
I
like,
don't-
yeah.
Oh my, yeah. Oh my goodness, it's like
Well, it is going to be like Star Wars. We do know that.
good.
It's an
You know,
old Star Wars
yeah.
script.
Yeah, they're gonna be fanboying over
Hey.
that one.
Hey, if that movie comes out this year, right? Guess what's going up against in the same genre? Warner Brothers is coming out with
Dune?
What movie? Dune. Thank you, George. Dune Part 2.
Oh, but
Dude's
that
gonna
movie
be
comes
spoiled.
out what, December?
No, November.
No, November. Like, sorry, but like,
Honestly,
Rebel
I
Moon
think-
comes out in November.
No,
December.
that comes out in December. But
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Dune comes out in.
Yeah, I don't know if people compare Dune to Rebel Moon. I
Well,
don't know
here's the
about
thing.
that.
but the
I
comparison to
think-
Star Wars.
I
Dune's
think
on-
I mean,
I think on a creative level, Dune is gonna walk circles.
I mean,
around.
Dune.
Yeah.
I never really understood the Dune as Star Wars comparison. If I'm being honest, I mean, Dune is like
I don't see
more.
it either. I don't see it either.
I don't
here's the
see
thing,
that,
Here's
yeah.
the thing, and it's actually something I'm actually.
It's quite the opposite of Star Wars.
Here's the
Yeah.
thing. I think Dune might have helped inspire Star Wars because I think Lucas took inspiration from sci-fi books that had come out around that
Did
time.
George Lucas really say that? I thought it was mostly
I don't know,
Seven
like, a lot of-
Samurais and
A lot of
I
people
just-
say like some of the old sci-fi novels, like you see some inspiration
But
like a little bit, but I
but
don't
Dune
think
is
that was-
not even the type of like that's more like hard sci-fi.
Yeah, like that. I don't really see it. I mean, I get that maybe the stuff about the Empire and all
Maybe
that.
Degrassi knows because I don't really understand that take.
Video games,
Degrassi says Dune. Absolutely, he just said it.
You know,
I don't really see it. I mean, the whole
think-
story of Dune is like the opposite of Star Wars.
Video games. You know
I
how many
think
video
some of the
games-
themes from Dune might have helped inspire it, but I don't think the story itself.
You know how many video games? You know how many video games, science fantasy out there was kind of like the next Star Wars.
Like they always said, like I remember hearing that the Jodorowsky Dune was supposed to be like Star Wars, but I still don't understand.
Don't-
Like the story itself is nothing. It's like
Don't make-
I mean, the Paul goes on. He literally becomes like a dictator. Like it's almost the exact
Oh,
opposite of
with
Luke
the song.
Skywalker. So I don't. It's such a weird comparison. I think they're just because it's like okay, it's in space, even though kind of like yeah, okay, yeah. In Dune they travel to different planets, but it's like it seems really limited.
Oh yeah, and Rebel Moon. I'm sorry if it goes to theaters. I'm sorry if it's probably gonna be long. And it's probably gonna be like probably most of the scenes are gonna be like half an hour slow motion anyway.
Oh
Hmm.
my goodness, it's
I mean, I'll check it out and see, but I have
well. Don't be surprised if a
Excitement.
lot of Snyder fans say Ray Fisher's gonna act circles around John Boyega.
Oh
Like,
my
John
god!
Boyega was
What?
Vince.
Have you seen
No, I can see Snyder fans pepping up like Ray Fisher and being like, "Oh, he's gonna be
honest
way
with you.
better than John Boyega."
I love Ray Fisher, but I mean, he has been to like what 3 things, including DC. I don't know. I haven't seen any.
Wait,
other-
what? Wait, say that again.
No, because
What's-
everybody's talking
What's
about.
John
like,
Boyega's most successful movie outside of Star Wars?
No, like talking about like Ray Fisher and like he'll act circles around John Boyega. And I was talking about Ray Fisher's like filmography, like
Right.
like he's been to like what Justice League. That's it.
BBS. He was-
Yeah, isn't that Has he been,
he's been
or
some
he's been
stuff.
on a TV show, right?
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm okay. TV shows, sure. I was thinking movies because I've only ever seen him as just
Oh yes.
he's a
Thank good
cameo
one.
in BVS.
Yeah, Attack on the Block is really good with John
They're making
Boyega.
there's a second one coming out. This is I think that isn't this before
And John Boyega was in Detroit, which I forget her name who directed it.
Catherine
James
Bigelow?
Cameron. Yeah.
Yeah. They're making a sequel to that Attack on the Block, right?
Yeah.
He
Whoa,
was in
what
True
was
Detective. I
that
saw a
about?
bunch of True Detective after season 2. Like, sorry,
Oh, he was in True Detective. Okay.
I stopped watching after season 2 with Colin Farrell and Vince.
Was
Vaughn.
that the TV show that we're referring to? I thought it was something else.
No, it's not that.
Okay, because I don't remember. I just thought he was in a TV
It's
show.
just that it's just that Ray Fisher has to open his mouth all the time.
Well, he's mostly done theater, right? So I mean, he could be a decent actor.
I mean, I want to see him in more things though. It's
Wrestlers in
just
theater too. Good point.
I want to see him in more things still, like outside of
Yeah.
Cyborg, but
Maybe
Well,
he
he
just
does a lot
talked
of
too much,
Broadway
and
stuff.
that's why he's
Yeah.
not.
Maybe
doing
stop
roles.
going after James Gunn.
Well,
I
here's the
don't
thing.
like in
The
Hollywood.
problem that Ray Fisher did was he basically went after Walter Hamada when the real targets were Josh Whedon, Jeff Johns, and I think there was some other guy. But he started going after Walter Hamada, even though Hamada basically said Josh Whedon's no longer going to be involved in DC.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He
Whole
was the one that said he will not appear in anything DC related as long as Walter Hamada was attached.
Well, to be honest, though, if we're being honest, he did get the last laugh because he was supposed to be in the Flash, and the Flash flopped. So
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
so you
no,
know,
he got the last laugh on that
he-
one.
Well,
did
he would
dodge
make
a
a
bullet.
difference anyway. Let's be honest.
Hey, at least he wasn't in the Flash. You could say that I wasn't in the Flash
that's a good point. That's a good point. The
But
Flash
he
is
should
no
never
longer
run after
tied to
James
his
Gunn.
legacy.
because I'm sure after the Flash, Ezra Miller, he's never going to be in a blockbuster movie.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Marshall Ali.
That's
No,
it.
no one's
Pissed
going to
off
trust
right
Ezra
now.
Miller.
Marshall Ali is really pissed off at Marvel right now. I you know what? Marshall Ali, I don't think it's gonna happen. He might actually leave Marvel.
I hope he does. He should move. He should move on.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if they just dumped the Blade project because
Yes. Might just
first of all, at this point, this project's been announced since 2019, and it had not had a release date until a year or two ago. I mean, for goodness sakes, they announced this project before they announced.
Wasn't it supposed to be in? Wasn't it supposed to come out in 2022? Or am I?
this
well,
year
here's the thing.
also?
They
This year,
announced
just
this.
Yeah,
like we
this
also-
year too, right? Yeah.
So they announced this movie before they even said they were
They even
gonna
had
do
a script.
before. Well, I know this is Sony. but
Comic Con
before third-
2019 announced it.
Hold on. So
Right.
like before they announced the third Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland, before Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 got a release date, before they even said they were going to do a third Ant-Man movie or do a second Captain Marvel movie. I mean, for goodness sakes, like a couple of years ago, I think Captain America 4 was finally announced and Deadpool 3.
Yeah,
Right.
Captain America.
They're coming
Captain
out
America-
next year. As
Captain
far as we
America
know,
4
those
was
are the-
announced. George, if Captain America 4 was announced right after Falcon Winter Soldier ended.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that was,
that
what,
was
2 years
true,
ago.
yeah.
That was 2 years ago. So you know what? Like, and they're coming out next year, and because these things started filming before the writer strike, they're at
I
least
think
on
it
track
was
to film
because
them out
they
next year.
Blade is a very interesting character. I mean, we talked about this before. Blade doesn't have a lot of comic book source material to pull from, and when he does, it's like he's mostly on teams or he's like there during events. And then on top of that too, like most people when they hear Blade, they think of the Wesley Snipes Blade.
No, that's
Right.
that's
Yeah.
it.
So
I mean,
you kind of have to do something like that.
But let's be real here. They don't really exactly have access to the biggest vampire villain out there, which is Morbius, because Sony's basically got
Right.
their.
Oh, they
And-
can
And,
do
and,
Dracula.
and to be honest, Morbius is more Spider-Man than
they
Blade.
can do Dracula.
But I mean,
It's
like
just-
you could have still done like a Blade Spider-Man like crossover, which people probably could have
Right, it probably would've
that
been
actually could have
interesting.
gotten people in seats to go see,
is
even
true.
if the movie didn't turn out good.
Right.
this
right.
is true. This This is true, but remember, Beetlejuice 2
Yeah,
was
that-
development hell for like.
It's been in development
decades.
hell, but it's like it's finally got legs. It's like Blade.
Yeah.
It feels like whenever the legs are happening, the legs get cut off. They get cut off quicker than Anakin Skywalker's
I think they just
legs.
didn't know what to do with Blade.
I
I
mean,
think
they
that
went-
was the issue.
Who's
Also,
Blade
let's be
villain?
real here.
Dracula?
Does
Or-
Blade really have a?
I don't think
place-
Dracula's going to be in Blade, to be honest. Also,
I'm gonna be
I
honest.
heard that was a rumor though. Dracula might.
that
be
was the
villain.
rumor, but yeah, I don't know
Does-
about that one.
Does Blade even really have a place in like these crossover events? Like,
Not
I mean,
really.
they
Besides
have
Midnight Sun,
magic,
that's
If
about
they have
it.
Doctor
Like,
Strange,
is Blade
if they have
really
witches,
gonna
why
play
not?
it-
If they have wolves.
Yeah, if they do, and which by the way, they're clearly not doing Midnight Suns like we all thought
No.
they were. They're not doing
I
that.
mean, that he's clearly not going to be in King
How
Dynasty.
how they
or
gonna
Secret
how they
Wars.
introduce supernatural creatures to the MCU?
Well, he might be in Secret Wars. He might be in Secret Wars because then you could get. Well, I mean, if Wesley Snipes wants to come back, which I mean, we've heard he might
And-
not, but yeah.
In the comics, it might be explained that the Darkhold is responsible for some of the supernatural characters, but the Darkhold has been destroyed in the MCU. So how do they explain supernatural characters?
Well, remember what I told you? The rumor was that the Darkhold was created by Kang, so they'll just find another way to bring
That's
it
so
back.
stupid.
Yeah.
That's so stupid. That's a stupid idea. That's just a cheap way to. No.
That was the
Don't make-
rumor, right?
Don't
And
make
I
Kang
kind of made some sense.
Don't make Kankathon. Don't do that.
Well,
Don't-
Kang was because there was also that other stupid. I mean, it's stupid, but I'm like, it's probably what's going to happen. Where Doctor Strange is actually the villain of the multiverse saga. Do you remember that
I
rumor?
remember that.
And
I
and
think
it
it's- I don't-
Kang
I
is
think
trying to
that's
stop
BS.
him. Yeah,
I think that's BS. I think that's.
I don't know. That kind of makes some sense because why did they say Doctor Strange was?
Oh wow, we don't have a
the-
writer for Kang Dynasty. The guy left. So.
But there's something to do with Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is the one that ties all this
he's
stuff
the-
together. So
he's the one more focused on the multiverse. Obviously, the end of Doctor Strange, right?
well,
Like,
no, they say something in his movie that is not explained on, and that rumor would kind of make sense if that's true, right? That he's the because remember at the ending, this is what it was, where it's like, oh, him being in the universe would collapse it. Remember, and that's why you had to go with what's her name, Clea? Is it what's the character's name? Clea, right? Yeah, and she was like, "Come with me, because the universe is gonna fold."
Well, if they do a Doctor Strange 3, they might introduce Dormammu again because Clea is a
Yeah, he's
Dormammu.
right.
So, and Doctor Strange cannot beat Dormammu like head on because Dormammu is very powerful.
I remember people had that theory that Doctor Strange was
remember-
it was Dormammu was Doctor Strange in another universe.
Remember they thought it was Mephisto too, the Spider-Man oil, but he's
Yeah.
like Mephisto. Like, that's-
Yeah, they
I
thought
remember-
all types of shit.
I knew it wasn't Mephisto. I'm like, start up with the Mephisto shit.
They only
Mephisto's
thought that because of
coming.
One More Day. That's the only reason why people were saying that. They were like, "Oh, Mephisto's the one who messes up the spell, and then he's gonna trick Peter." It was all crap. It was all bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Blade. Mahershala Ali should just walk away from Blade. To be honest, it's not. I don't even think Blade is going to do particularly well anyway. And also too, what it sounds like and this is what they were trying to do in the comics because, like I said, they don't know what to do with Blade in the comics. So they're going to pass the mantle on to his daughter, which I think they did recently. They actually did this comic. It was like the daughter of Blade. That comic was in
Yeah.
development hell for I want to say like 7 years. They like always would announce it, and they had a writer, and it's like, okay, when are you going to do it? And they never did, and they finally did it. So if that's what the story is for the Blade movie, then I don't know if that's going to go over well. To be honest, his first outing, he has to pass on the mantle. That doesn't make sense, especially to a character that, I mean, yes, now she's in the comics, but like she's a fairly new character, right? There's no attachment there. So I don't know if they really want to do something like that.
Well, yeah. I'm going to end it here, guys. Go ahead and plug your stuff. I gotta step away for a bit. Go ahead, Blue Jay, if you're there. If not, George, go ahead.
You can find me at Aqua Cinema. I do movie reviews, like spoiler reviews and tier streams and stuff I feel like to do. I don't know. not as professional as most people are. So there you go. Aqua Cinema. You better follow me.
Nice. George, you want to go next?
Okay, yeah, you can find me at the George, and I just got done reviewing all the Indiana Jones movies, including the new one. And last night I did a stream on Dial Disney spoilers with DL and Blue Jay. So if you haven't already, please check that one out. And as far as anything upcoming, I guess my next stream, I guess we can continue this topic with like superhero fatigue on my next stream, and if that's been playing a role. And I will be reviewing Mission Impossible and Oppenheimer when they come out, so please check those out.
Awesome. I don't really have anything to promote because I'm not on social media, even though I'm on the stream right now. So you can ignore that. I don't know what happened to Aaron, if he's back or not.
I'm here.
Okay.
I came back. George, did you promote yourself? Okay.
Yeah, and I put Blue Jay's channel in the
Blinded. I don't know if he's
Yes, man.
anything.
Yeah, I just said I'm not promoting anything. I'm not even supposed to be on social media. So
Oh yeah. Did you promoting anything? Or did he?
yeah, he did. He went first.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Like, so do me for a like, share, subscribe, right? Do all that stuff. Thank you guys.
Peace.